here at Air Station Kodiak, Alaska.
It was game on.
Fuel is running low, while a rescue swimmer struggles to reach an injured sailor.
Guys, we got to be Johnny on the spot. We got to make it happen.
New trainees are pushed to their limits.
If you make a mistake, it could cost someone their life.
The team races to a victim who has fallen off a 200-foot cliff.
There was no doubt we could hear the sense of urgency in the captain's voice.
And something goes seriously wrong for a local pilot.
Plane was beat up pretty bad.
The vast Alaskan wilderness, a place where beauty is cloaked by danger. Here every day, 350 highly trained men and women risk their lives to save others. America's deadliest waters are protected by Coast Guard Alaska.
So they're proceeding direct Kodiak, pretty much? Okay, I gotcha. It's got a call for a possible medevac. It's a freighter about 420 miles southwest of here. It's steaming back towards Kodiak. Right now, they are out of our range, unfortunately. Got a patient who's got a unconscious, possible head injury. So just taking a look at things and gonna look at the flight planning, see what makes sense as far as when to launch them to pick this guy up.
The other pilot, Jim, and I got the call, and then we went over to the operations center, jotted down some distances and speeds, and figured out what were going to be the best options.
What are they traveling at?
12 knots.
It's 5 hours as opposed to if they steam straight toward us.
The patient was 200 plus miles south of the Aleutian chain. So what we are calculating as pilots beforehand is where we can get gas and where the best rendezvous spots are for a medevac jet.
He was fine, randomly went unconscious, and lost control of his balance. So, either dead or he's had a seizure.
He has no heartbeat, he's got no pulse, is that what we're saying? Yes. Right now? So how can that be? There's a seizure where all that stops and comes back?
Yep. While you're seizing, you are not breathing, there's no pulse, nothing. So.
But if it lasts for more than 4 minutes, 6 minutes, he's going to be dead.
Yeah. So that's why I guess we'll find out.
Let them make their decisions. Let us press on.
Yeah.
We'll try climbing if we get clear skies, but we're probably going to stay fairly low.
All within about a half hour, we assembled all our information, our gear, and our flight crew. We got the rescue swimmer, flight mechanic, 2 pilots, and a corpsman all together. All information was passed, and we're lifting off and flying to the SAR case. We had a fuel option planned 300 miles from here to Sand Point, where we're going to refuel.
So we refueled in Sandpoint, got rid of some equipment that we did not need that was taking up a lot of room. And so after the fuel, dropped off a couple things and off we went.
Well, we're showing 114 miles from the scene. I just talked to the captain. He said the patient's unable to walk. Roger.
Being a medic, mainly the worries that I have is my gear. Am I going to have enough to sustain this person? Because once they're in the helicopter with me and the other crew, it's our job to keep them alive and get them to the hospital.
Another star, 6015, have you on the side where we're getting our distance down to the port side.
At 1,000+ feet, those seas didn't look bad. Like, no problem, 500-foot boat. But when you get to it and you start to come down in altitude and look at the waves crashing up over the bow, it was game on.
Wow. You see the guys at 3 o'clock, he's beneath the crane. Yeah, there's a couple wires, a lot of stuff on the deck. Yeah, I don't like those wires. I mean, as much as this thing's bouncing, I see the water spraying over top of the ship already.
Normally, the container ships, cruise ships, big boats, they don't really move much in the seas. But it was definitely pitching up and down with the seas. So, right, yeah, that's the reality. When we got on scene, there was 4 flight crew guys that have flown for years going, not what we expected.
3 o'clock is warning, danger to cargo, but you also have a train
Initially, I thought it was going to be one of those oil tankers that was just nice and flat on the top. It was nice and flat, but they had piping and all kinds of contraptions all over the boat. There was a crane on this boat. We had a big mast up front with guide wires coming off of it. So right away we could tell it was going to be a challenging hoist. And the only place really to hoist from was the bow of the boat, and that bow was going up and down. Pretty good.
Let's just move in closer. Let's get a good look. That ship's going up and down. Look at that right there. It is. That's good. That's good. 15 feet. Dude. A little bit of spray.
We were actually not that crazy about the hoisting area. So we sat in a hover for a while, talking for about 2-3 minutes, you know, hey, is this really the best place? But we didn't have time to really spend a lot of time looking for that perfect place, and we just made it happen.
So where are we at right now as far as how's everybody feeling about this? I feel good. These swells are, they come and go. Okay, rescue swimmer deployment to the vessel underway.
Doing this job long enough, you start to get to the point where you're pretty confident, you know, but you want to be safe at the same time. But no matter how many times you do it, your adrenaline's still going to start going. Your heart's still going to start beating because it's, you know, you're starting to realize you're doing something that's just not normal. And, you know, you can do the job, but at the same time, I mean, you know, my heart was beating pretty good when I was getting ready to actually head down because you just never know what's going to happen.
All right, check swimmer. Check swimmer.
Right before Scott went out, I'm like, Scott, we need to make this fast. I want you to just get him in the litter as fast as you can, get him back in the aircraft, because fuel's running low as we speak.
Going down.
I was calling the helicopter over, and you know the ship took a couple swells. Right about when the swimmer's going to get on deck, the boat moved a little bit. We moved a little bit. It got a little hairy real quick. But the swimmer and I both knew that to get him on deck would have been it had to be done quick.
We're going inside, boys. We're going inside.
I didn't want to bring too much urgency to the case because you want people to really do a good job. But I just had to express that to everybody, guys. We got to be Johnny on the spot. We got to get down there. We got to make it happen. We don't have a lot of time to play around because we are running out of fuel as we speak.
Doors ready? Okay, begin the hoist. Doors outside cabin door. Looks like free, so we're going down.
I'm not just focusing on the swimmer. I'm looking at the bow. I'm looking at the waves, and I'm also looking out the back and make sure that the tail's not going to make contact with anything.
As I was getting lower down, I could see that it was pitching pretty good. It was coming up and down, and I started to get a little bit of a swing going on. At one point, the boat came up pretty fast as I was swinging, and I could see the rail coming at me. And so I just kind of picked my feet up as much as I could. I did clip the rail going by it, and that kind of got me spinning a little bit. And then when I came back across, then hit the rail again, and then hit the deck. We had to do a medevac off of a ship 250 miles south of the Sandpoint area, which is pretty far from here. We had seas that were anywhere from 12 to 15 feet, and the only place really to hoist from was the bow of the boat, and that bow was going up and down.
Well, right before Scott went out, I'm like, guys, we got to be Johnny on the spot because fuel's running low as we speak.
As I was getting lower down, the boat came up pretty fast. I could see the rail coming at me. I did clip the rail going by it, and that kind of got me spinning a little bit. And then when I came back across, then hit the rail again, and then hit the deck. Just fraught out on the deck. It wasn't graceful, but I was on the deck. I was happy. So he pulls the hook up and hooks the litter up. And then I pulled the trail line down with the litter attached to the hoist. This whole time that I'm on the deck, it's moving pretty good, and we're getting water coming over the sides. Because we went so far out, 250 miles out, we only had about a half an hour or less on scene, so I knew I had to be kind of quick with it and wanted to get them strapped in there good and secure and tight. Once he was in the helicopter, they secured him, lowered the hook back down to me, and we went ahead and hoisted me up.
Source on the cabin door. Hoist complete. Murray Star 6015. We have your crew member aboard. We are going to take him back to standpoint. We have a medevac fixed-wing aircraft waiting to take him to Anchorage.
So finally, when we had him on board, we were running out of fuel, and we started heading towards Sand Point, and we were just making max effort to get there.
We checked his vital signs. He wasn't totally unconscious. He was in and out of consciousness, more of a sleep state, but he was definitely conscious to a point. He would grab and hold onto your hand. He would grab the ICS cord. For the remainder of the flight, we kind of just reassessed his vitals every 15 minutes. I continued to check his breathing.
We landed in Sand Point. We saw the jet sitting right there. We taxied right up to the jet and transitioned the guy from the cabin into the jet.
It was kind of a relief once they did lift off, because then I knew that that patient was completely transferred.
A lot of cases, they seem like it'd be kind of routine. This one's a little more challenging than normal, but it was a good feeling, you know, to do a job well done.
Way to go! Oh! Give me some. Nice job.
It's something, I mean, think about it, you know, how the Coast Guard, between, you know, the guys in operations over in district having to call and talk to the boat, the 60 going out there. You got this whole big team just to be able to get one guy off a boat 250 miles, you know, out in the middle of nowhere. And to me, that's, you know, I think that's pretty cool that we can accomplish this all the time.
Boston, McVaughn, go ahead. All right. You guys understand that you are entering into a program that a lot of people would like to be in your shoes right now. You know that, right?
Yes, Chief Fowler.
So I have two new AST Airman candidates who showed up this week, Airman Lawson and Airman McVaughn. Both these individuals will be conducting their PTN test this morning, and we'll evaluate them from that point and go from there.
You are standing here in front of me because you want to be lifesavers. Sometimes that means putting your own life at risk. You need to be smart, and you need to handle yourself professionally. There is a zero tolerance policy with that in mistakes being made. Because if you make a mistake, it could cost someone their life. You guys have any questions on that?
No, Chief Fowler.
Again, welcome to Kodiak, and put your game face on. It's time to get focused and proceed in the next steps.
Yes, Chief Fowler.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, this is a go, no-go test. This determines your fate. If you do not pass today's test, you are disenrolled from the AST Airman program.
The AST Airman program, it has the minimum training requirements. It's 50 push-ups, 60 sit-ups, 5 pull-ups, 5 chin-ups, 500-yard swim under 12 minutes, a 1.5 mile run under 12 minutes. That all has to be completed within an hour's time.
So we're going to begin with push-ups. Ready? Begin. Back straight. Starting to hobble. Muscle failure, you're done. Muscle failure, you're done. Okay, pair it up for sit-ups. All the way down. 1. Push it out, push it out. Done. All right, you're done. Pull-ups next. Knock them out.
3, 4, 5.
That's it? You're quitting on me? I said this was a max effort. Don't kick. That didn't count. You know what, when you pull off the bar like that, what that tells me? That tells me that you're gonna do just the bare minimum to get through this program. That's not what I wanna see out here. You got
Roger that, Chief.
I don't care if you can do 5 perfect ones. I wanna see how many you can do today. This is 100% effort. It does you no good to save anything today, because I'm gonna catch it and I'm gonna see it, and that's gonna show me that you're slacking and sandbagging on day 1. Pull them out, McVaughn. Come on, pull them out. Drop. You're at muscle failure. All right. Is that what you're worried about? Are you trying to save yourself for chin-ups? Is that what you're worried about? We're looking for maximum effort. We're looking for how they can push themselves to overcome. Just those minimum numbers are not going to suffice. You need the best candidates possible to be able to send to the A school environment, because once they graduate A school, their job is to save lives. That's what we depend on them to do, and that's what the public depends on them to do. Knock them out, McVaughn, let's go.
All right, keep up.
We received the report of a 21-year-old male who had fallen 200 feet.
When I was hoisting him off the boat, I could tell right away that he was hurt badly. The wounds were exposed. He had the head trauma. He had the scratches on his arm.
Sounds like they have 2 survivors on board. They're going to bring them down here to the Coast Guard ramp where we have awaiting emergency personnel. Once they get them unloaded, they're going to go back out and pick up the 3rd victim.
We're actually going to have an official Coast Guard retirement ceremony today. Thankfully, in the U.S. Coast Guard, we bring lots of other people along. No one's forever, so we keep training new people to come in and replace you, but it's really going to be the James Arnold show today. Today, we are assembled to observe the retirement and recognize the 30 years of faithful service of Chief Warrant Officer W. James Arnold.
30 years is a long time. Not very many people do that. Started off on a Coast Guard cutter back in 1981. Served 2 years on that. After that, got tied up in Coast Guard aviation and just fell in love with the helicopters and just continued on from there.
Chief Warrant Officer Arnold will now officially retire. From Commander, Coast Guard Personnel Command, to Chief Warrant Officer James Arnold. Your request to retire is approved. Please detach from all duties on 1 October 2011 and proceed to your home of selection. May you have a fulfilling retirement and best of luck in future endeavors. Signed, M. Hurstberger.
Just enjoying Kodiak. You can't help but fall in love with this place. It's literally a love-hate relationship. Some people love it here. Some people just can't stand it. But you've got to get involved with the community and with the profession that you chose.
I had so many things that I wanted to say. All the awards that you see here on my chest and all the support wouldn't have been without the men and women just like you standing the watch all over this nation. At all the different air stations that I've been at in the last 30 years, all these awards that you see up here, I can only accept on your behalf. It's a total team effort. So I appreciate you. My hat's off to you. And be careful out there. As the captain mentioned, this is probably the harshest environment you'll ever fly in, and I wish you nothing but the best.
James is very heavily involved in the community. We received lots of kind words from very senior officers in the U.S. Coast Guard. James is really going to be missed.
I'll end by reading something that only my wife could help me write. My 30 years in the U.S. Coast Guard has been one wild ride. I've been blessed to actually live out the phrase, love what you do, and you will never work a day in your life. My Coast Guard career ends today with me thanking God, my family, my friends, my co-workers for helping me leave here a better man. Thank you and God bless.
My dad just retired with 30 years of service in the Coast Guard. Ended it here in Kodiak, Alaska.
Good job.
Some of the hard parts of what my dad's been involved with is some of the deployments. He's missed all of our birthdays at a time, some holidays, all kinds of things. And now that he's retired, it'll be great to have him around.
My family has been there to support for the 25 plus years that they've been with me in my 30-year career. And without them, there's no way I could go to work and do what I do. It just isn't possible.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, check this out. I'm listening. 6. My name is Lieutenant Jim Cooley. I'm the Operations Duty Officer. I started hearing a conversation on the radio between a mariner and the Coast Guard sector anchorage about a crewman that's on board their boat that had fallen off a cliff about 200 feet. And they had him on board, and he's in rough shape. Our District 17 Command Center elected to launch an H-60 helicopter, which we just did.
We received the report of a 21-year-old male who had fallen possibly 200 feet, so we knew there were probably significant injuries based off of that kind of fall. So we definitely wanted to try to make a plan to get there as quickly as possible. So I decided that the quickest way to get there would be to go up over the top of the island, which would be the most direct route. As soon as we came out on the other side of the mountain, we could hear the direct communication between the captain of the boat and our rescue coordination center. We immediately broke into that conversation and started talking directly to the vessel to try to coordinate the quickest pickup that we could once we got on scene. We received the report of a 21-year-old male who had fallen possibly 200 feet. So we knew there were probably significant injuries. So we definitely wanted to try to make a plan to get there as quickly as possible. We immediately started talking directly to the vessel to try to coordinate the quickest pickup that we could once we got on scene.
We're going to take a look at your ship, see if we can do this, and then we'll let you dock you move to the side.
There was no doubt we could hear the sense of urgency in the captain's voice, and we knew that the situation was very serious.
We looked at the boat real briefly, real quickly, and we made a decision that it was a very possible, very stable platform to hoist to as far as we were concerned as the air crew. And as we were setting up, getting ready to do our hoist, the captain mentioned over the radio that the patient's conditions had worsened and the breathing was getting less and things like that. So we made a decision to put the swimmer down on the boat immediately.
Lady active, we're at Kilo 6005. We're going to put our rescue swimmer down, sir, and help out.
Jason grabbed all his gear that he needed to go down to the boat. The captain pulled back on the throttles, let the boat go still in the water. Very smooth, very quickly, we expedited the hoist, put Jason on the back of the boat. Jason went down inside.
When I got on scene, it was chaotic. It was obviously nobody was prepared for the scenario that we had in front of us. The people on the vessel and myself. We quickly assessed and we executed a hoist quickly.
Lady Ashley, rescue Kilo 6005. Understand we are going to lower a trail line down. Once it's on the deck, take instructions from the rescue swimmer to place the individual in the basket. Lady Ashley, 6005 coming in for the trail line delivery.
As soon as I put the litter on the back of the boat, the next thing I saw was Jason Bunch and some of the family bringing out the wounded gentleman, laid him in the litter, connected the straps, did everything he's supposed to do, got it all ready to come up to the helicopter and gave me the thumbs up, I'm ready to go. When I was hoisting him off the boat, I could tell right away when I saw him coming up that he was hurt. He was hurt badly. The wounds were exposed. You know, he had the head trauma. He had the scratches on his arm. He had the, you know, what they had described to us on the radio is what I saw coming in. I retrieved the litter, brought the gentleman in the litter into the helicopter, and he was wearing nothing but a set of shorts. Just, it looked like the people on the boat had been trying to, you know, make him as comfortable as possible. He was not conscious at that point. He appeared to be unconscious, to be sleeping or just passed out. After I was able to get the patient into the cabin, I just put the hook down. Jason clipped into the hook, and I lifted him right off the back of the boat. As soon as he was clear of the boat and in the cabin door closed, forward flight.
6005 is departing.
Wait, hold on 1 second. All right, they're talking to Secretary. I can tell you right now.
We are en route this time. We're showing 35 minutes to Kodiak.
35 minutes to Kodiak, so yeah, 3-5. The helo is about 35 minutes out. I've already contacted the paramedics. I'm going to update them with an ETA to meet the helicopter on arrival. I'm listening to patient is critical. ODOs. Okay, I heard that.
We knew that we had to come straight to Kodiak as quickly as possible while Jason and Nate both continued to provide emergency medical care to the patient en route.
Jason immediately moved into his, emergency medical service and started performing CPR, started checking all his vitals with the equipment.
We applied a defibrillator to the patient, maintained an airway the best we could, and provided CPR.
A lot of the stuff we do in the back, because the pilots are on the radios, we just kind of look at each other and, we read body language. And, Jason I sort of motioned to him that I would help him with the CPR, and I'd help him out where he needed to be. And he understood, and he gave me a couple little tasks with the breathing, the bellows for breathing and stuff. Jason was doing his job the whole way. He was administering, immediate life support right there, and the whole way back, he didn't stop. He wasn't taking breaks. He wasn't doing anything. From start to finish, Jason was on top of it.
As we came in, I kept the aircraft in the air as long as I felt I safely could because we can go a lot faster in the air than we can when we're taxiing on the wheels. So I just basically kept us at a low, what we call an air taxi, all the way till we came around the corner and had the ambulance in sight, and then I set it down and we taxied in the rest of the way.
We jumped out, and we, as fast as we could, we got that patient over to the ambulance, and they weren't even expecting us to come that fast. We moved as quickly as we possibly could, and the medical people that were there and the firefighters who were there, we all just, as quickly as we could, got him in the back of the ambulance. The flight surgeon was on the ambulance and got him to the doctor.
When we transferred the patient, we knew that he was in critical condition, but then we didn't really know any disposition beyond that until the doctor came back and told us that after he'd reached the hospital, he had passed away. When we got that information, we definitely took a look at it as a crew, and we felt like we had done everything that we could, that night within our limitations, but we just did not get the outcome that we had hoped for. You always know that you're going to have cases that aren't going to work out the way you want them to, and that someone's going to lose their life despite your best efforts, but you still never want it to happen. And it's still very difficult when it does happen.
So I have two new AST Airman candidates, Airman Lawson and Airman McVaugh. Both these individuals will be conducting their PTN test this morning.
Drop, you're at muscle failure. We're looking for maximum effort. We want to see how well these guys can push themselves mentally to go above and beyond. I really want to see what they're made of and how capable they are to continue in the program.
Okay, 12 minutes is the time. Don't save anything in the tank. Go!
I don't think McVaugh's going to make the run time.
Push it out, Lawson, push it out. I don't think McVaugh's gonna make this. Remember your time when you come across. Push it out, let's go. 11:02. Push it out, McVaugh, push it out. Finish strong. Give me everything you got, let's go.
He's over already.
Come on, push it hard, push it hard. 12:13.
Did you see 12:13?
Yep.
Training's very hard. Always being pushed beyond your capabilities. By the end of it, I was pretty winded.
The thing is, he did pretty damn good on his push-ups. I mean, his push-ups actually looked better than the other kid.
During the PTN test, Airman McVaugh and Airman Lawson both had strong points and both had weak points. At this point, there's no clear standout between either one of them.
Ready? Go! If he makes it 500 like that, it'll impress me. That'll mean he's a strong kid. You see how far he's pulling his head out of the water every time? Yeah. Look at that. That friggin' whiplash thing, look at that. Hey, you may have to watch him. Get ready with that floaty. Gain your composure. Get your goggles back on your head.
The most difficult part of the training for the in-test would probably be in the pool. If I had to give any advice on that, I'd probably say to train a lot harder.
Are you getting ready to throw up? Are you getting ready to puke?
Go to your belly.
Square your shirt away, get it tucked back in.
So after completion of the Airman PTN test, I evaluated Airman McVaugh and Airman Lawson on their performance. Unfortunately, Airman McVaugh was not at the physical level that he needed to be to continue on in the program. He had a lot of good positive attributes about him, but physically he was just well behind the curve of where he needed to be. Airman Lawson did show some improvements, and at this time I've decided to retain him in the program and give him a shot and see how he goes from here. With Airman McVaugh, or with any airman in that case, it's always tough to send someone home. At the same time, you have to make those decisions because you need the best candidates possible. Because once they graduate A school, they may come back to me and work for me in this shop, and I need them at the very best of their game when they come back and they're in their operational environment here in Kodiak.
We're out here doing a couple things. We're doing a fundraiser for the Chiefs Petty Officer Association, and we're also helping out, volunteering with the rodeo itself, gate security, and just door security type stuff. Mr. Arnold and I work together in the H-60 division at the air station. His family's very involved in the community. He's got a couple of daughters participating in the event this weekend. So, you know, they're very interactive with the community. He just retired. They're going to remain in Kodiak for some time. And so, you know, that's a relationship that's going to bond the Coast Guard and community together even more.
James Arnold, 30 years in the U.S. Coast Guard, just coming out to the rodeo, the Kodiak Rodeo with my family. My youngest daughter's doing the junior pole racing and then taking the opportunity to do the three-legged race with my oldest daughter. But other than that, just enjoying the family after a long career.
My name's Mallory, and my dad just retired from 31 years in the Coast Guard. He really helps out a lot, especially with me and the horses. Yeah, he's kind of my groom, so.
Have fun, Mal.
Thanks. I'm about to go and pole bend.
Mallory, you're gonna be first in the juniors. We're gonna do the egg toss first, and then you're gonna be first.
I'm gonna be doing pole bending, and what it is, I come in and I see the poles and I gallop down. I go through them once, and then I go through them again, and then I gallop out as fast as I can. Kodiak. I get to ride whenever I want. I love fishing, and we do a lot of outside stuff.
Dad, we're like last!
Watch this, watch this.
My dad and I tried to do the three-legged race at the rodeo, and we failed miserably. He was goofing off, trying to knock people over, trying to throw elbows, and we lost count of our feet.
You need a younger partner next year.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I gave the family a choice where they wanted to go. We go back to Florida or stay here in Kodiak, and they really enjoy Kodiak. The entire family does. So that's the reason we're staying. That was fun.
That was fun.
I ate the dirt, ate the cow dirt.
Got a call about a half an hour ago, report of a downed aircraft in the vicinity of Cowson Bay. We got 3 POB, and that's all the information we had to go on. We directed the H-60 to launch out of here and get on scene and assess the situation. At this time, that's all we know, and we're waiting to hear back word from the H-60.
We got launched out for a seaplane that had crashed near a small lake that was about 2 miles up on the ridgeline from the interstate between Cowson Bay and Middle Bay.
Boy, swimmer. Doors away. Easy down. Roger. 20 feet. Swimmer, he's made contact with the survivors. We're standing by for a head count.
Just for a heads up for the emergency personnel, how many injuries do you have?
According to what we've heard, one injury is a probable broken leg. One person seems to be all right. And the third person is non-responsive.
We got launched out for a seaplane that had crashed. When we got on scene, the plane was beat up pretty bad, broken in about 3 or 4 pieces. Rob, the rescue swimmer, when we put him down, his initial assessment was we got one guy with a broken femur, and then one guy had a head contusion, and then one looked like he was deceased.
Fastest halfway down.
We just got word back from the 60. Sounds like they may have one deceased. But we want to go ahead and start arranging to get the services put over here at the airport. The hoisting itself is a pretty big evolution, and especially when it gets dark and over land, it becomes even more complex. When they're dealing with one rescue swimmer down on the ground trying to get people out of the aircraft that's downed, it becomes a little bit more tricky. 05 Air, go ahead.
Air 6205, we got one passenger in the aircraft. We're picking up a second one, the 2 injuries. We're going to be on our way to the pad in about 5 minutes for landing and transfer the passengers to the emergency medical personnel.
Roger, good copy all, and I'll make the pipe. 5 minutes out.
The swimmers are really key to any kind of rescue that you do because those guys really get down there, they assess what's going on. They're pretty much directing us on what they want and how they want to manage the rescue.
Signs in the cabin, voice complete. We're about 10 minutes out, guys.
And roger that. Just keep us surprised when you guys are headed inbound. We have the emergency personnel waiting here already.
Roger, appreciate it.
2 patients that we rescued tonight off the mountain were, they were young, they were quiet, they weren't very combative at all. They were just kind of, a little delusional, a little out of it, they'd just been in a plane wreck.
They're currently about 5 minutes out. Sounds like they have 2 survivors on board. They're going to bring them down here to the Coast Guard ramp where we have awaiting emergency personnel. Once they get them with that and unloaded, they're going to go back out and pick up the 3rd victim.
It's kind of an interesting situation when you get back from a tough mission like that. You're concentrating on getting the mission done and saving people's lives. So you don't think about the risk and the danger involved. When you get back, sometimes it's kind of a, wow, that was a tough situation.
Rob did a phenomenal job. Got both patients on board. The fire department and medical personnel were able to get those 2 patients off the aircraft and to the hospital.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Hey, real nice job.
Hey, sir.
This was tough.
Are you our relief?
He's ops calls right now.
He's ops boss. Probably more bad news than good.
The third person was pronounced dead earlier that evening. Our command decided that the risk in the middle of the night to try and extricate a deceased person was not adequate enough to continue the flight.
Sometimes the risk is outweighing their potential for gain. Most of our folks would say, I can take it, let me keep going. And it's kind of my job to say, I think we need to stop for now and try it again tomorrow.
See you in the morning. We'll see you guys.
All right. See you guys,
Nice
buddy.
job, guys. 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Alaska is an incredible place to be stationed. We have a lot of high-stakes rescue cases because the distances, the weather, they truly are life and death. When the unthinkable happens, words can't even describe that. That's when I'm staying awake at home at night, on the phone, through the night, staying in touch with the status of the case. But the people in the town of Kodiak really know what we do, and they appreciate us. When you see the look in somebody's eyes whose life you just saved, or deliver somebody to their family members, it's a pretty amazing thing. Makes it worthwhile.